Good evening, everybody. If I seem a little startled, it's because I am. Um, my neighbor just shot a gun a few times, and it had been just so completely peaceful and quiet out here, and that scared the F out of me. Yeah, it's. So, yes, I'm American. I live in the woods, and that is legal for them to do that within a certain distance of another house. I'm not looking out there this time to see how close they are. It sounded really close, though, and it scared me. And now I feel completely rattled. I was gonna just talk about how my sensory issues are an issue. Anyway, and now I'm like, I can't get myself together. But oh my God. I hope that they don't do that again. If they do, I'm tempted to leave it in just so you'll see what I'm talking about or hear. But anyway, so yeah, so that's like the second time this week that a noise has totally dysregulated me. So in my everyday life, sounds and bright lights are my two biggest obstacles because in my job I don't deal with people a lot, and I'm just not around a lot of people because I live, alone, and my partner and I just go back and forth. So yeah, so earlier this week I get to work and I have forgotten my earbuds. And that usually means the start of a bad day. And so I'm just gonna push through it. No earbuds today. There's a lot of construction around where I work, and I have to walk about a mile to my office from where I park. And so on my mile walk that morning, there's all kinds of construction going on, and there's like the beep, beep, beep of a scissor lift, and then there's a beep, beep, beep of something backing up, and, just the sound of wet tires on pavement, and there's, people talking around, and the other sounds of the construction, like nail guns and stuff like that. And so I get to my office, and about an hour into work, a beeping starts. And I'm like, this is a totally different beep. It's not construction, I don't think. But I couldn't tell where it was coming from. I thought it was outside because a lot of times, like delivery vehicles will have a backup noise on them. But so this day, I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, it hasn't stopped. It's been kind of consistent, and it's starting to drive me crazy. And so I get up and I walk down the hall, and there's nobody there. So I just like, okay, so if it's in one of these offices, I shouldn't really just go in there and investigate. So, but every time I would walk down the hall to check it out, it would be silent, and I would get back into my office and it would beep again. It was almost like it was taunting me. And so this went on for about 2 hours, and I timed it. They're 40 seconds apart, and for 2 hours beeping at 40 seconds apart with no earbuds, it's just crazy making stuff. And so I had an old pair of earbuds, like the old Apple ones with the cord, and like it won't plug into anything that I own anymore. And but they'll still plug my ears, so I put those in just to block some of the sound, but they're not really good. Um, so because they're like the smooth ones, and they don't block out much sound. So I'm like sitting there with those in, and I'm just starting to get really, really upset. And I go into my boss's office since I timed it 40 seconds apart. I knew when to expect it, and it was coming from my boss's office. And I text him like, how do I stop this beeping from this two-way radio in your office? And he texted me back, just turn it off. That simple. But like I couldn't figure out where it was coming from for the longest time, and not wanting to go and invade people's offices while they're not there. It was rough, and I was getting really very agitated, and like no one was around for me to be short with, but my partner was texting me questions about something that's happening 6 months from now, and I'm just like, I don't know, just cancel it. Because I'm just so done already, and it's not even noon. But that's an example of how sounds impact me on a daily basis if I don't have sound blocking earbuds in. And I usually have my Bose Sport earbuds in, and I usually have some kind of music or something going. So I don't really hear the stuff that's going on around my office so much, because it's kind of a continuous thing of cars and people and motors and stuff like that. So whenever I am home, it is usually eerily quiet. Sometimes I will come home and I'll just have this buzzing or ringing in my head. Not tinnitus, because I get tinnitus sometimes, but this is just like a humming inside my head. And the only way I can get it to go away is to just turn everything off and keep everything off for a while. And like TV or sound or phone noises, things like that. Just be quiet. And sometimes I even have to turn off ceiling fans, or if the refrigerator kicks on, it can bother me, especially if I'm having a migraine, or if a migraine is about to happen. And usually migraines happen because of sensory overload. So things will get just the volume on all of my senses will get turned up, and right before the overload and then the subsequent migraine happen. But like, I'm so sensitive to sounds that right before a migraine, the other day I was eating a bowl of oatmeal, and just my spoon touching the ceramic bowl was causing this pain in my ear. And it was kind of like, it also had kind of a crackle to it, like every time I would touch the bowl. And I'm not like a bowl scraper, I wasn't violently eating my oatmeal. It was just touching the bowl, but the sound, it was kind of like if you stick a Q-tip a little too far into your ear. And so I knew that I had a migraine coming on just from that, hint, whatever you call it. And so things that small and simple can be, painful. whenever I'm about to have a migraine, but just in everyday life, things like that can overwhelm me, especially if there's other sensory input that, like, I just can't filter this stuff out. It's all coming in, and it's, and I will, like, just take in everything, and it's so much. Like the bright lights, fluorescent lights, LED lights, sun shining on vehicles, that causing that glare. It's bad enough that I never have lights on in my office. I have one desk lamp that I rarely turn on. Some days in the winter, if it's stormy, it'll get dark enough in there that I might need the desk lamp. But most of the time, that doesn't even come on. I just sit in there. I have windows, so the natural light is okay for me. And I have had people comment, like, every time there's a new person that walks by my office and pops in, and they're like, "Oh, your light's not working?" And I usually just say, "Oh, the lights are a migraine trigger. I keep them off." And so it's been that way for years. And my partner, he likes bright lights, and he's been pretty accommodating with me. In most of his house, he has a workshop where he needs the bright lights, and he works out of his house. And so when I go in the workshop, I will put on a baseball cap and sometimes sunglasses. I just discovered that his laser glasses, like, he has a laser engraving laser thing, and with the protective glasses, goggles, whatever you want to call them, they block out lots of light. So I can go in his workshop with the laser glasses on and a baseball cap and have a regular conversation with him. I might look weird AF to him, but he says, whatever works for you, that's all that matters. So, yeah. And like, if we work on anything we like to do projects together. So if we work on anything in his garage, he has some of the ear covering things to wear when we're working with power tools. So for me to wear when I'm working with power tools, and also the baseball hat in the garage with those fluorescent lights, because I just can't handle being around the bright lights. And I always wear polarized sunglasses when I go outside. But the sun, I can usually just deal with sunlight, because all I have to do is change direction. But unless I'm driving straight into it. But lucky for me, I am driving east in the morning. I mean, driving west in the morning and driving east in the evening. So I'm usually not bothered by that. But yeah, the bright lights, it feels like I'm being stabbed in the eye, and the loud noises feel like I'm being stabbed in the ear. And even like it's especially bad with higher pitched voices or sounds. And I remember as a kid, my mom yelled a lot, and I absolutely hated it, because her voice pitch it was in that frequency that's painful to me. And the volume and the frequency and being yelled at, it was all just really overwhelming. But now, like, just if there are people outside, like, yelling, trying to get one another's attention, or if like, my partner has a dog, a border healer, and her bark, she'll do an alert bark just randomly, and I call it a yip, because that's kind of what it is. And it will feel like something just stabbed me in the ear. And she does that, and I just automatically like cover my ears and jump, because those alert barks are always so random and sudden that I'm never prepared. And like my dogs, they both had gruff little barks, so they were in a lower range. I wasn't used to having a really high pitched one. So just things like that the pain in the ears is really startling, and just the sound, suddenly it's a jolt to my nervous system. It kind of feels like I just got electrocuted. So I try to avoid bright lights and noises as much as I can, but just like the other day with the beeping of the two-way radio, I tell my boss when he gets back to the office, or he's apologizing for it, and I was like, yeah, I just get really like unsettled by noises like that. And I was on the verge of tears when it was doing the beeping, and he was like, oh yeah, everybody does. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm sure everybody gets annoyed or aggravated at something like that happening, but does everybody want to cry over a two-way radio beeping? Do they want to run away? So things like that. And what if it was something that I couldn't turn off? Like, what if he needed that radio on? So situations sometimes just aren't as easy to remedy as that. So those are the biggest things that I encounter just on a daily basis. And I think about all the things that I've done just without even knowing what was going on with me, just like little accommodations that I've made for myself to make my life a little more comfortable, because my senses do just seem like somebody turned up the volume on them. And one of the adjustments that I've made for work is making my own dress code without asking permission. Now that I have a diagnosis, it's like legitimate. They know that it's like a legitimate thing, but casual Friday, like every day was casual Friday for me. I started out wearing business clothes, and I was not able to focus on my job with wearing business clothes, because I'm really sensitive to different types of fabrics and constrictive clothing, and just different aspects of it, like not being comfortable. It's such a distraction that I'm always focused on one article of clothing or another, or like a waistband, just too much friction, or being too tight, or something kind of rubbing against my neck, and like it's rough when you have to dress up for work, and it would be even rougher if I had to do that every day. But now I just try to do the business casual thing, just wear like cotton sweaters like what I've got on now with jeans, and they're lucky I haven't tried wearing athletic pants yet, because my Nike sweatpants sure are nice. Like any sweatpants are nice. I don't have to be a particular brand. Just the ones I'm wearing now happen to be Nike. But yeah, so I wear comfortable shoes. I wear Converse to work every day almost. Um, I have a pair of boots that I also wear when the weather's kind of bad. But because I learned the hard way that canvas and rain doesn't mix. So, at least untreated. But so yeah, I wear my Converse jeans and a sweater to work pretty much every day during the winter time. And I have Raynaud's, so I need to be wearing wool, but wool is so itchy to me, and so it's like, or scratchy, I don't know, maybe both. So it's, my skin is really sensitive to wool, but it is the one of the best insulators other than down. Um, and both of those things are pretty pricey. So I can tolerate higher end merino or cashmere wool. The cheap stuff is just too scratchy. But I don't have disposable income to be spending on wool all willy nilly. So I only have like 4 pieces. But so my sensory issues affect my others. I guess I would consider a Raynaud's a sensory issue, even though it's circulatory issue, because when I get stressed out, my hands and feet go white, and it can be 78 degrees in the house, and my hands and feet will go white if I get extremely stressed out. So in a way, I guess you could say I'm lucky that I have a physical indicator of my distress. Because sometimes I know that if you don't have any kind of show any physical signs and you're in distress, someone just thinks you're overreacting. And, I will give people a verbal indicator that I'm in distress. And they will be like, oh, it's not that bad, just, that kind of thing. And until it gets really bad. And then I'm like, look at my hands, and I will show you my feet if you really want to see them. So that's, one way I've actually been able to get across to people like how much it stresses me out, and because it's not normal for that to happen without it being cold. So, but when it is cold and I need to prevent it from happening, I need to wear warm clothing, and the only thing that is comfortable to me is cotton. I can wear cotton, and that's pretty much the only thing that I find really comfortable, other than I guess fleece. Certain types of fleece is polyester, I guess, but it has to be like very specific kinds. But yeah, luckily, like wool socks don't bother me. Somehow, probably my feet have been cold so much my whole life, they've grown numb to anything like wool scratchiness. But scents are also a huge thing for me, and so when I go out in public, I have a really sensitive nose. I can just smell all kinds of things, and since every product that you put on your body or wash your clothes in is scented, my nose is assaulted with scented products from the minute I enter the public. And I really wish people would not wear colognes and perfumes, because that is like an instant migraine trigger for me. It's pretty much the equivalent of staring at a fluorescent light directly, or the sun directly. A heavy cologne or perfume is that quick of a migraine trigger. And so, like, walking to where I work, it's like I pass all these people and they're all of their scents, and then there are vehicles driving by with exhaust, and then, you know, if there's any landscaping crew out, all of the exhaust from their like weed eaters or leaf blowers, whatever they're using, or a gas powered lawnmower, anything gas powered, is the exhaust from that really bothers me. And when I say it bothers me, I don't just mean I don't like it. No, I mean it affects my nervous system, and it causes me discomfort, physical discomfort, and if I'm exposed to it enough, it'll cause a migraine. And so on the average day, I'm exposed to all of these smells, sight, like the lights and the sound, all at once, not just one or the other, but they're all happening simultaneously. So they just overwhelm me. And I'm basically just have to go around with earbuds and sunglasses in all the time. And I really miss wearing a COVID mask. Sometimes I still wear one. If it's really, really cold outside, the cold air, breathing in cold air also is not good for Raynaud's or migraines. So I'll wear the mask just to keep the air that I'm breathing warm. But I miss those masks. Like, I feel like a weirdo now when I wear it. Like, people are going to be avoiding me, like acting like I'm sick. Although now, second thought, people avoiding me might not be such a bad thing. Maybe I need to reconsider wearing that mask. But it's not the social interactions that I'm trying to avoid. It's the overwhelming sense of people. And sometimes I'm just like, do I have the kind of sense of smell that a dog has? Because it sure does seem to pick up on a lot of things that I don't want it to pick up on. And so, yeah, but that's the way in which my senses are affected, just on a day-to-day basis. And luckily, I don't have any kind of major problems with taste. I'm not a picky eater. I'm a vegetarian, but that's for different reasons. But yeah, sight, sound, smell, and touch are all something that affect me pretty badly on a daily basis. And, you know, I'd known to call it sensory issues for a long time, but I didn't make the connection. I just thought that migraine itself was a sensory issue or neurological issue. So the diagnosis makes that and a lot of the social and communicative problems brings them all together. But so I just wanted to talk about what my life is like on a daily basis and how it is affected, how my sensory input is affected by the stimuli that I'm exposed to daily.